Do you ever feel like you're doing everything right for fat loss, but nothing changes? If you're a busy professional who's eating better, you're hitting your workouts, but you're still struggling with cravings and belly fat and slow progress, it's probably because you're skipping a few things that matter way more than people realize. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 things that you probably aren't doing daily that you should do daily to make fat loss a whole lot easier and get results that you'll be proud of, like some of my coaching clients on the screen. So let's start with one that a lot of people are missing because I missed it too. I have a software engineering background, so that means I'm used to sitting from 8 to 10 hours a day with hunched over shoulders, tight hips, and bad posture. But since I lift 3 to 4 times a week, I always assumed that was enough activity for me. Then after getting my blood work done one year, my doctor told me that I needed to do more exercising. And I was confused about it. I said, look, I do exercise. I go weight train 3 to 4 times a week. But he explained that only accounts for 45 minutes to an hour of activity 3 to 4 times a week. And it was obvious that I was inactive for the rest of the week. And when he told me that, it made sense. He wasn't just talking about workouts in the gym. He was talking about my activity outside of the gym. Because long periods of sitting down slows your metabolism, it slows your circulation, it slows down your energy level. Basically, everything that we don't want to happen starts to happen over time if we sit too much. The thing is that most people think that fat loss happens in the gym, but fat loss is really determined by your lifestyle outside of the gym. And that's because of something called NEAT. And NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's just fancy talk for all your activity that takes up your day that's not your workouts and dedicated cardio sessions. So things like walking while you're parking farther away at the store, or taking the stairs instead of an elevator, or pacing while you're on the phone, doing yard work or house cleaning. These type of activities where you're moving, but they're not exercise. So if you increase the activity that you do in a day, you're gonna burn hundreds of more calories in a week without even realizing it. Even your hardest boot camp or your favorite spin class instructor is not gonna have you burn that many calories as you would by increasing your activity level. So one simple way to make this active in your life is whenever you realize you haven't moved in a while, just get up and do something. It can be stretching, just to get up the pace, just to get your body moving. And when you do these extra small movements throughout the day, it might not seem like much, but it'll add up to a lot more calories burned throughout your week compared to just sitting and doing nothing else. Now, this is one that I see in almost everybody that I coach. One of the biggest barriers to fat loss isn't food. It's actually stress, because stress eating works the same way as a smoke alarm. Yours might be beeping right now, so you need to go ahead and change those batteries. But what I mean is that the alarm doesn't just go off for any reason. Something has to trigger it. It could be something that's cooking in the kitchen, blowing out a candle, whatever it is, but something is going to trigger that alarm. But cravings are the same. Cravings aren't the fire, but cravings are the alarm. Something earlier in your day triggers these cravings. It could be times of frustration, stress, lack of sleep, or just actually feeling physically tired. So by the time you realize it, it's 8 or 9 p.m. You're in the cabinet or the pantry looking for some prepackaged snack that's gonna make you feel guilty after eating it, but you feel like you have to because the craving is too strong. But I'm gonna tell you something that most people won't admit and most coaches probably won't tell you. I don't think you should fight your cravings unless you have a medical reason to do so. Cravings are one of those things that the more you try to fight them, the more they fight back. And if you end up eating the craving, you're gonna feel guilty about it, and it ends up just creating this bad cycle that you don't wanna be in. I like to take a different approach, and it's the same thing I do with my clients. Instead of fighting the cravings, I like to fit in whatever you like to crave within your nutrition plan, because having a very rigid style of eating along with having a stressful life is going to guarantee that you're not able to stick to any plan at all and hit your fitness goals. So how do you do this? The number one thing that controls whether your weight goes up or down is the total number of calories that you consume on a regular basis. If you're consuming more calories than your body needs, you're going to gain weight no matter what you eat. If you consume less calories than your body needs to maintain your current weight, you're going to lose weight. So if you knew the number of calories that you have to eat to lose weight, and you only ate McDonald's for those calories, you would still lose weight. So the trick is to fit in the foods that you like every day. Make a small portion of your daily nutrition with one of the foods that you actually want to eat. Not the healthy version, not the weird protein version. Whatever it is, the food that you crave, make space for it. That is what's going to make fat loss sustainable and for you to not go crazy in the process. Number 3. Now this one is misunderstood by a lot of people, especially as they get over the age of 40. Most people assume that fat loss is harder because they got older. But what actually changes is their muscle, especially after the age of 30. After 30, your body naturally starts to lose more muscle over time unless you do something to actively fight against it by having the right nutrition and strength training. Now your metabolism works like a campfire. Now, no matter how big a campfire starts, if you don't pay attention to it, it will eventually burn out. You have to throw some more wood in there, you have to move the fire around, you have to keep it going. Well, muscle is the wood for your metabolism. As muscle starts to fade and you don't do anything to fight against it, your metabolism slows down, your blood sugar can start to get all weird, your energy goes down, your recovery goes down, your hormones start getting all messed up, everything just starts to go downhill. So to get around this during your workouts, you want to make sure you actually challenge yourself. You shouldn't be going in the gym and leaving like you haven't really worked hard. You shouldn't feel pain, like physical pain, like an injury, But it should be uncomfortable because building muscle is an uncomfortable process. So if you never make the ugly gym face on any of your sets, that's a clue that you're probably not lifting enough and you need to challenge yourself more. If you start to challenge yourself more over a consistent amount of time, that's going to signal to your body to fight against that muscle loss and actually start building and maintaining muscle mass, which is going to help your metabolism. Number 4, but building muscle is just part of the equation. And this part is where a lot of people get blindsided. I have a client who is extremely consistent. No matter what I ask her to do, she gets it done. And she was making a lot of progress for a good amount of time. But then it got to a point where her weight was just not changing at all. So during my weekly check-in with her, I wanted to make sure she was still going with the plan correctly, and she was. But she started to get frustrated with her weight plateau, so she added in some extra kickboxing classes throughout the week as well, assuming that more activity was her problem and she needed to push harder and do more. But as we talked through this check-in, I realized that that wasn't her issue at all. She mentioned how she was really starting to hate her job, how her boss was just not the best person to deal with, and she mentioned how she actually started to feel nauseous before she went to work. Now add on her 2 small kids and other responsibilities that she had, she was not sleeping well, and her body was extremely stressed from emotional and physical stress from adding in extra activity throughout the week. The reason why is because her cortisol hormone was through the roof. So I was honest with her and I told her, until something changes with your stress level or you have a change in your job, we have to be patient with this plateau because it's going to take some time for your body to kind of adjust and reset. And a few weeks later, she got fed up and she just quit that job. And it didn't take more than a week until she saw the flush. Now, what's the flush? That's when someone has been on a plateau, they've been doing everything they're supposed to do, and out of nowhere, their weight drops because their water weight is gone, their stress is a lot better, and their body reacts to that. Thing is, you can't transform a body that feels like it's in danger. And when you have high stress levels, your body's gonna feel like it's in danger of something. So whatever you have to do to try to get your stress levels down with a nightly routine to get yourself ready for bed or whatever it is, take it seriously because relaxation and rest becomes extremely important the older that you get. Number 5. Now this one is the deal breaker. People think they fail because they lack discipline. Almost every time that I talk to someone before they come on as a client, I'll ask them what do they feel has been holding them back from reaching their fitness goals. And 9 times out of 10, the only thing that they mention is that they need more discipline. But what they don't realize is that they don't need more discipline and they don't need more motivation. If you're working and you're managing a family and other responsibilities and you're keeping all of that together, you have more than enough discipline. The issue is that you have chosen a plan that is making it hard for you to stick to because of your day-to-day life. I see it all the time. People put together these routines and these plans that they got from some influencer that's 25 years old that has nothing else to worry about but going to the gym and count macros, and they try to put that in their lifestyle and it's very hard to stick to. They get frustrated and they end up quitting on their goals altogether. And most routines like that fall apart when life gets busy. And at the stage that you're at, life is going to be busy and unpredictable at times. Meanwhile, the people that stay consistent and get the results that they want, they aren't doing anything extreme. They're actually doing the exact opposite, and they're keeping things very simple to fit towards their lifestyle. And this is where systems come into play. When you have a system around your nutrition and a system around your workouts and your activity, you don't have to worry about trying to muscle yourself into more discipline and more motivation because the system doesn't require much thought. You'll get the results you want as long as you just stick to the system. Because if you don't have a system in place that you can fall back on, when you have those days that you're stressed after work and you have those cravings and you want to just go to Chick-fil-A and get something quick, it's going to mess you up. Or when you plan that you were going to eat these specific meals Monday through Friday, but then somebody invites you out to eat that you didn't plan for, it's going to mess you up. But when you have a system in place that accounts for these things and accounts for these wild cards, you don't have to be as stressed about trying to rely on motivation and discipline because things are going to work out either way. So a simple way to see if what you're doing right now is sustainable or not, think about your routine, your nutrition, everything that you're trying to do, and really think and see if you can stick with it on your most hectic and busiest week. Because if you can't see yourself sticking with it on those kind of weeks, it's not the plan for you because you're going to have more busy weeks compared to weeks where you aren't busy. Now, these 5 things are going to drastically change how you look and feel in your body. But if you have issues with trying to be consistent with these new habits, check out this next video here where I explain exactly how to do that.